Would you buy a Lamborghini if you were 7 feet tall? Would you invest money you can't afford to lose because CryptoGator007 on a Reddit thread said it's going to pop off? Now, many parents make similar gambles with their child's education by following unqualified advice or chasing trends. That's why I'm going to reveal a simple 4-step decision-making framework that I've used to help thousands of parents take back control of their lives and their child's future. Now, about 99% of people that I speak with either don't follow these steps or they don't do them in the right order. So in this video, I'll break down each step in detail. I'll share with you some common pitfalls to avoid, provide you with the next small actionable steps that you can take, and offer you 2 free gifts to ensure that you're making the right decision between the SAT and the ACT. So go ahead and cue the music and let's jump right in. Hey, I'm Jin. I'm a top test prep instructor with over 13 years of experience teaching the verbal section of standardized exams to over 7,000 students in one of the most academically competitive cities in the world. Now, personally, I've scored in the top 99th percentile multiple times on the verbal sections of the SAT, the ACT, and the GMAT exams. I've also authored several test prep strategy books, participated in global teaching masterminds, and currently I'm launching an online education company while pursuing a PhD in mastery learning. Now, I share all of this not to impress you. I'm not one of those guys that likes to brag, but I really do this to impress upon you the idea that I'm no CryptoGator007. I'm just a passionate teacher who lives what he teaches and wants nothing more than to give you the clarity and the feeling of certainty to do what's right for you and your child. Now listen, you guys, I know firsthand just how hard it can be to make such an important decision. A decision that can change the course of your child's life forever. Now, I used to stress out so much about these things. I'm the kind of guy that needs to know everything about everything before making a decision. And still, I would constantly worry about whether I made the right choice. I'm a worrywart. In fact, things got so bad for me that there were days where I couldn't sleep and felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt trapped, like a prisoner of my own mind. And for you, right, the pressure to choose the right test, the overwhelming amount of information that so-called experts throw your way about their unique magic formula that's guaranteed to raise your child's scores in days, all the noise you get from teachers, other parents, students, your loved ones, and even yourself about which test your child has to take. I've heard and been through it all. I've felt the pressure from parents, students, and even from other teachers and bosses. I've dealt with a mom demanding that her child get a perfect score because, well, she's the perfect child. And I've gotten the call from the panicking student freaking out because his scores dipped after the first week of classes. Now, that's all to say, you guys, that I've been there, I've done that, and I've felt and overcome it all. And that's precisely why I spent over 2 years creating and refining this decision-making framework that's designed solely with you and your child in mind. To be honest, you guys, I'm sick and tired of people pushing their opinions on others because they're motivated by profits. And I feel so sad seeing indecisive parents being taken advantage of because they don't know any better. And my heart shatters whenever I see these beautiful, amazing, incredible students who lose all hope and confidence because they feel like they're the problem, when the problem is really the system. Guys, call me a dreamer, that's okay. It's true, like I am one, but I'm also world-class at this stuff. You see, you guys, this framework that I'm about to share with you is based on my observations working with over 7,000 students at every single stage of their test prep journey. I've seen it all. Students taking the ACT because their older siblings did, students signing up for the SAT because their mom was pressured by other moms, students juggling both the SAT and ACT simultaneously, students switching back and forth between the SAT to the ACT after 2 years of studying and failing, Students switching between the SAT and ACT too soon and too often because of worried and fearful parents. Students following college consultants' advice without a second thought. And students who never feel good enough because they are neglected by egotistical, biased teachers. But I've also witnessed incredible transformations and been a part of beautiful experiences when I've taken families through this process. As for me, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing a child's eyes light up with hope because they know they're exactly where they're supposed to be, and they know they'll continue to get better and better every day. And there's no better feeling than to see a child's soul light up with joy, right? Because they achieved something they thought was impossible. And they're just so grateful for you. I get so emotional every time I talk about this. Now, that's the kind of world that I want to live in, right? Where parents put their fears and pride aside and unconditionally love and support their children, right? Where teachers step up and pour their hearts, minds, and souls into what they teach because they know deep down that anyone can change. Right? Where businesses stop putting profits over people and begin to put kids first, right? Trusting that profits will follow. So what I'm about to share with you is more than just a framework. And it's a tool that cuts through all the noise and chatter, all the doubts and fears. It's a way to have laser focus on what truly matters. It's a step-by-step process that saves you weeks of confusion and chaos. And it's a system of thinking that gives you the clarity and peace of mind knowing that you've done what's important, not popular. You see, you guys, through my work with over tens of thousands of students and parents, I've identified key patterns and insights from those that were the most successful, as well as the common traits and behaviors that almost everyone who failed to achieve their goals did. So the first thing that you need to know is that this decision-making framework is based on 4 main pillars. Now, these pillars are used by top decision makers across various industries and disciplines. So think military leaders, CEOs of major brands and corporations, surgeons, just to name a few. Now, the 4 main pillars are foundational knowledge, experience and refined knowledge, communications, and decision and commitment. Now, each of these pillars has a clear action step that you can take. So step 1, you'd be able to gather foundational knowledge. Step 2, you're going to build experience and refine your knowledge. Step 3, you will seek out and set up meaningful communications. And step 4, you're going to decide on a test and commit. Now, each step has key ideas and strategies nested within it. So I've seen so many parents overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information and conflicting advice thrown at them in all types of directions. Now, I don't know about you, but when I feel overwhelmed, my mind gets foggy, my thinking becomes unclear and confused, and I procrastinate because I simply feel stuck. Now, you do this enough times, and you will begin to feel powerless and unsure about whether you're making the right decision. Now, this is a strategy that many business owners use to take advantage of people like us because they want you to be confused. Because if you're confused, then you're going to want to pay them to help you get unstuck. So many parents fall into this trap. They would rather pay someone else to solve their problems for them rather than work with someone to solve their problems together. But this is a super risky strategy, and it ends up almost always in disaster because you're always going to be in a state of uncertainty. You won't truly know what you're doing is the right thing. And the moment that something goes wrong, the doubt and the worry will show. Your child's going to feel it. When he feels it, they're going to end up losing trust in you. So, guys, I want you guys to just do me a favor here. Just pause for a moment. And take a deep breath. You can even close your eyes if you want. I want you to think about a time when you felt overwhelmed. How much space did you have in your head and body? Not much, right? Look, we've all been there. There's no judgment coming from me here. Right? But we all know that it's not a good place to be. Now, personally, the best way that I know how to deal with overwhelm that has worked tremendously well for me, and I know will work well for you, is to focus on the next smallest step that you can take. Focus on that. What that specifically looks like on your test prep journey is to gather foundational knowledge about the SAT and ACT. Now, guys, foundational knowledge is simply just basic information about the two tests. Format and structure of the test, the content and topics, the timing, and so on. Now, you don't have to know everything at this point about the two tests. At this point, there are just 3 foundational pieces of knowledge you'll want to gather. So 1, the differences in subject and content between the SAT and the ACT. 2, the format and structure of each test. And 3, right, the timing. Now, we don't have the time to go over each of these points in detail in this video, but if you're interested in learning about the SAT and ACT in depth, you can simply watch my next video in my channel, right? In that video, I'll cover everything that you need to know about the 2 exams, right? The format, the structure, the content, the timing, the similarities, the differences, and I'll even share my thoughts from my personal experiences studying for and taking the test, and my opinions about which types of students are better suited for which test. Okay? Cool. So now that you understand the foundational knowledge piece about the test, it's also important to get some foundational knowledge about the test taker. Right? So we have knowledge about the test, knowledge about the test taker. Now, if you're a parent whose number 1 priority is to support your child and put them in the best place to succeed, I'd highly recommend asking your child to watch the student version of this video so that you guys can both be on the same page. Just make sure to ask them kindly, please, right? Demanding children to do anything rarely works. I know this, and I'm sure you know this, especially in the way that you want. So what I found works best for me is to approach them when you're feeling good and just open, like you have a lot of space. And make sure that you get to a place in your mind and body where you want nothing more than just to love on and support your child. No expectations, no resentment, no doubts, no condition. Now, just to help you guys out a little bit further, here's a simple script that you can use with your child that's worked well for me with the kids that I've taught. So you can say something like, well, hey, child's name, right? Like, so, hey, whatever. Hey, Sam. Hey, John. I came across this video that talks about how to decide between the SAT and ACT. I think it could be really helpful for both of us to understand more about it together. Would you be willing to watch it on your own time? I promise, no pressure from me. I just want to support you and make sure that we're making the best decision for you. Right? What do you think? So also, you guys, when you're doing this, make sure that you practice it enough times to the point where you believe you. Right? I recommend doing this in front of a mirror until it feels completely natural and sincere. Right? This is something that, the best influencers and salesmen do, right, when preparing for a presentation or a pitch. Now, if it doesn't work, then no worries. I have some other sort of ninja tricks for you later on, right? But for now, just keep doing the work and taking it step by step as that incredible, unconditionally loving parent that you are, and your child will come around, right? So anyways, back to our topic, you guys. Gathering foundational knowledge about your child, right? A sad and unfortunate problem that I see too many parents make is that they get so caught up with the test, that they neglect their kid. Right? They assume they know their child best and what's best for them. I've seen too many parents assume they know what's best for their child without really taking the time to understand their child's strengths and weaknesses. Now, they might push their child towards the SAT just because it's popular, right, amongst parents in that country or that district, or because other parents recommended it, without realizing that the SAT, right, might be a better fit. Right now, following random advice or trends can lead to unnecessary stress and frustration for both you and your child. Now, imagine you guys preparing for a test that doesn't play to your child's strengths. It's exhausting and discouraging, right? Because we all know this. Every child is different, and what works well for one might not work well for another. And so that's why it's so important to gather foundational knowledge about your child. Understand their learning style, their strengths, and the areas where they might need more support. Right? This isn't just about knowing the SAT or ACT. It's about truly knowing your child and what will help them to succeed. So what we should do, you guys, is we should take a step back from the test prep frenzy and just focus on what really matters, right? Which is supporting your child in the best way possible. Right? Now, by doing this, you'll be setting them up for success and making this whole process a lot less stressful for everyone involved. Plus, your child will feel like their voice matters and they're being totally supported. Right? So here's a few simple questions that you can ask your child to better understand their needs and preferences. So you could say, well, hey, enter your child's name, right? Like, I know you're working really hard in school, so I'm just curious, could you rank the subjects or activities that you enjoy the most and feel most confident about? Right? You can give them choices like reading and grammar and math and science, right? That'll help you to identify the areas where a child feels strong and comfortable, right? So like the SAT will focus on evidence-based reading and writing and math, while the ACT includes like English, math, reading, and science, right? So knowing your child's strengths, knowing what they like and are interested in, can really help guide you in choosing the test that best aligns with their abilities. So another question you could ask them is, when you take long tests like the ones you have in school, how do you usually feel? Do you find it hard to stay focused, or do you get easily tired? What about your stress? Do you get stressed out or have high anxiety? So by understanding your child's stamina and ability to manage test duration, right, can really help determine which test format may be less stressful. So guys, the ACT is around 3 hours long and includes 215 questions across 4 sections, while the SAT is a little over 2 hours long with 98 questions across 2 sections. Gives you an idea. Another question is, you could ask them, do you feel more comfortable taking tests on a computer screen or using a pencil and paper? Right now, knowing your child's preferences here for digital versus paper-based testing can help you to decide between the digital SAT and the paper and or online options for the ACT. Now, the SAT is only offered online, whereas the ACT offers both paper and online formats in the US, right, and only computer-based outside the US. Now, step number 2 is all about building experience with each test. Here, you're going to want to have your child take a diagnostic exam. Now, some call this a level test, but you can just think of this as your child's starting point, right? It's a starting point is all. Now, a helpful tip that I can share with you here is that you should never pay for a diagnostic exam. And if you are asked to pay for that levels test, you want to run away as far away as possible from this institution and don't look back. So from my experience, an academic institution that charges for a diagnostic test will charge you for any and everything. So really, the standard practice is to provide this test and a consultation for free, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Now, there are several places you can go to take a diagnostic exam. The first of which is the College Board website. So once you go to College Board's website, you will have to sign up for an account and download the Blue Book, which is just basically College Board's digital SAT platform. It's like their software. Now here, the good thing about the College Board's test is that it's 100% free, right? And the exam questions are relevant to the types of questions you'll see on the actual test because they're created by the same guys, right? The test makers, right? Who make questions on the real test, right? But there are downsides. So one of those drawbacks of using College Board's tests is that they don't offer any consultation, which I think is a pretty valuable piece, right, of this part of your journey, because it can provide you guys with the guidance and insights about your child's performance. Also, from my observations and talks with many students, the level of difficulty for the questions on many of College Board's free tests is easier than the level of difficulty on the actual test. Plus, Another drawback is that College Board score report is vague, like it's very unclear. So I don't think it's very helpful for students in terms of being able to easily figure out important patterns, to be able to recognize important patterns that can help them make quick fixes and gain easy points on the test. Now, the second option, other than College Board, that I'm truly excited to share with you is that I've partnered with 2 EdTech, educational technology companies based out of India. They're incredible. And basically, you guys, they're letting me give away free diagnostic tests to anyone in my community, right? So full disclosure here is I don't make anything when you sign up for this test, right? I just know how important the test is to students, especially Korean ones, right? I just want to provide you with as much value as possible. And I sincerely mean that. Now, I've had multiple talks with the founders of both companies, and they believe in what I'm trying to do here, right? My mission here is to really create life-changing educational experiences for millions around the world. And they wanted to support me and my community, soon to be you guys, right, in taking steps to accomplish that mission. So really, a sincere and huge shout outs to Deepak, Niraj, Ashish at Edison, OS, right, and Piyush at LearnQ. Like, these guys are incredible human beings, right, and I really feel like we're brothers in the same path. Right? But the thing is, you guys, free access to these tests is limited, so make sure that you sign up and sign up fast. Right? All you have to do to receive your free diagnostic exam is 3 simple steps. So 1, subscribe to this channel. 2, shout out Edison OS and LearnQ in the comment sections below. And 3, check out the link in the description below to sign up for and receive your free diagnostic test. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to note here. So Edison's diagnostic test is a full-length exam, which means it's going to be about 3 hours long. So you want to make sure that you block out this time for your child so that they can give their full focus and attention to that test. They can do their best. On the other hand, LearnQ's test is a shorter exam since it's run fully by AI, right? Artificial intelligence. And this, I think, is great, right, for those busy on-the-go students who don't have much time. Now, these exams, you guys, will run out fast, so make sure that you act even faster. In fact, pause this video and just go ahead and sign up now, right? And another thing, you guys, is as an added bonus and gift to you, you can sign up for a free consultation with me after taking the test. So this is where I'll help you guys analyze the data. Your score report will be full of advanced analytics. And here I'll provide your child with a personalized study roadmap for the SAT and answer any questions that your child or you, the parent, may have. Now, if you're interested in taking a diagnostic exam for the ACT, there's a couple of things that you can do, right? So 1 is you can sign up for a free ACT exam on ACT's website. So they offer a full-length test, which includes the optional essay section, right? You don't have to take that one, it's just optional. Now, the other option is to click the ACT link in the description below this video, right? And by doing that, I'll send you guys a free full-length ACT test along with my ACT English section strategy book, which is basically currently in the proofreading and editing phase, and it's unreleased as of today, which is June 2024. So the thing is, you won't get the pretty final version, but it is free and it provides over 98% of the specific and exact concepts and question types that are tested on the real test. In fact, you guys, this book provides you with the exact game plan that I've used to help hundreds of students score in the top 99th percentile on the real ACT exam. And just to add a little cherry on top, as an added bonus, you can book a free consultation with me. And in this consultation, I'll help you to analyze your results. I'll help you to create a personalized study roadmap. And again, I'll answer any sort of questions you may have about the ACT. And again, all you have to do is just subscribe to this channel, like the video, right, and sign up using the link in the description below. Okay, now here's the key, you guys. So after your child takes both diagnostic tests, right, is building up that experience, you're going to be able to level up your knowledge base with this extra layer of knowledge, right? And this can really help you to make a more informed and precise decision. So this is the point in your journey where you want to refine that knowledge, right? So having taken both diagnostic tests, your child will have a better understanding and a better feel for which test better suits them. Now, a helpful tip to consider here is that you don't want to base your decision simply on the scores. Okay, so for example, you guys, let's say that your child scores a 1200 on the SAT, which converts to a 25 on the ACT. But your child's actual diagnostic score on the ACT is only a 20. Okay, so this doesn't automatically necessarily mean that you should sign up for the SAT exam, right? That level of thinking is way too simplistic, and here's why. So the ACT is going to feel faster than the SAT because there's just less time on average to solve an ACT question. Also, a lot of kids feel rushed, right? Almost like they're out of control, like they're just scrambling, right? Like a chicken with its head cut off when taking the ACT for the very first time. And many students aren't able to finish a chunk of the questions within the given time period. And that's simply because the ACT is more of a speed test, right? While the SAT is more of a thinking test, right? Which means that in order to solve an SAT question correct, you have to take several extra steps in your logic and reasoning to get that answer right, right? Now, speed can be trained, so can logic. So the way that I think about it is that speed comes with skill, right? Not simply by going faster, right? And logic can be trained by learning the strategies for each question type and executing step by step, right? That series of steps to arrive at the correct answer. Once you establish the habit of that process of answering each question, you'll be able to go much more efficiently. But in the beginning, we want to start slow. Okay, so guys, this is all to say that by comparing scores, or that comparing scores isn't the only thing to consider when deciding which test to take and prepare for, right? Your child has to think deeply about which test they can truly improve on, right? So some students have massive troubles with logic and reasoning, right? They kind of have these brain farts, right? While other students have major difficulties managing their emotions and controlling their focus, especially under time pressure. Now, a helpful thing to consider here is whether your child believes that it was simply the initial shock of the ACT that caused them to rush and panic, right? And that if they took the test again, they could manage their time and their emotions and focus better. Furthermore, right, remember that this is just a starting point, right? Doesn't necessarily mean this is where they're going to finish. Right now, with the proper guidance and training, I've seen students boost their scores to the 99th percentile in weeks on both tests, right? Regardless of starting. You know, so therefore, you guys, some deep thinking and introspection is required, but it's always better to think through this stuff before preparing and registering for a test prep course, rather than waiting and finding out a month into a test prep course that you made the wrong choice, or, right, that you're just listening to a random person's advice about which test your child should take. It doesn't make any sense to me, right? And I hope you'd agree. Now, the third step in your decision-making framework is to seek out and set up meaningful communications. I want to emphasize that what's important here is to do a little bit of research about the who. And that is, make sure that when you talk to people, you consider who it is that you're talking to. Now, I've seen too many parents focus on the wrong things here. Like, what does the curriculum look like? And how long are classes? How much does it cost? How often do they meet? When do they meet? And so on. Now, while these details are important, they're not the most critical factor. Now, let me explain. The who. This is the person who's actually teaching and leading your child. That who makes all the difference. You can have the best curriculum in the world, But if the person teaching it doesn't understand how to communicate it effectively or connect with the students, the materials won't matter, right? The right teacher, on the other hand, can take an average curriculum and make it exceptional because they know how to adapt it to fit the students' needs. Now, conversely, a poor teacher can take the best curriculum and fail to make any impact whatsoever. Right? Plus, right, chances are that the right who will have the right materials and curriculum anyway. Right? Also, when considering price, it's helpful to think about value, not cost. So here, guys, I've worked with students who studied for the ACT, after 2 years of studying. So we're talking summer, winter, spring breaks. Right now, those students attended lower cost academies, but they actually ended up wasting more money and, even more importantly, more time because they weren't being taught by the right who. So the right who can actually help you to save money and time because they're that much more effective. So remember, think about value, not cost. Right now, another thing to note when you're setting up meaningful communications is to avoid the wrong people. So wrong people to talk to are business owners with no teaching experience. Now, if they don't have any teaching experience, they don't have the learning experience. Right now, they may be good at talking in sales, but their main focus is profits. Now, I've worked with and worked for business owners who pushed selling their ACT and SAT programs because it only had a few students in it. I've also witnessed owners place students in the wrong level classes because the lower level class was almost at capacity, like it was full. So the bottom line is that business owners are focused on the bottom line. Right now, of course, you will most likely talk to a business owner, but they don't have to be the only person you speak with. Ask to speak with the teacher and make sure that if you get the chance to, you come prepared with questions to ask that teacher that really focuses in on their teaching philosophy. Now, I have a list of questions and their implications, which will give you guys a very clear sense of what type of teacher you're dealing with and whether the teacher will be a good fit for your child. Right now, if the business owner won't let you talk to the teachers themselves, here's another extremely valuable tip that almost always works. Ask to preview the class. Here's why this tip is gold. Right now, if the business owner isn't fully confident in his programs, he won't let your child sit in on a class. Now, in this case, guys, that's absolutely no loss for you because you know that's most likely not a quality program. Now, if the business owner says it's against the teacher's policy, think about it. Is that the kind of teacher you really want your child to work with anyways? Probably not, right? I'm always excited to have students preview my class because it's an opportunity to showcase my stuff and make a lasting impression on the student, right? But the teacher who doesn't allow a free trial class probably isn't confident in their abilities. They don't prioritize students, or they're probably too focused on their own egos and don't want it to be bruised, right? Which doesn't make any sense at all to me. Right? Good teachers, you guys, understand that they're not going to be the right fit for every single student. And they accept that fact that some students simply won't like them. Ultimately, the right who understands at the core of who they are that it's not about them. Right? It's about finding and attracting the right type of kids. The students who actually like the teacher and their teaching style and feel like they could truly benefit from their classes. Right now, on the other hand, if your child is allowed to sit in on a class, this will allow your child to see if they like the teacher and their methods. It'll also help them determine whether the classroom culture is one that they feel comfortable in and want to be a part of long term. Right now, if not, no big deal. Right? A smart business owner will understand this and will actually recognize that in the long term, it'll be better for his business. Because having just a few toxic students in the class who don't like being there will ruin the experience for everybody. Right? Now, by preparing your meetings in this way, you'll set yourself and your child up to have very meaningful conversations. Right? You're going to get so much value out of this, right? So really, guys, use this information to the greatest extent. The fourth and final step in your decision-making framework is to decide on a test and commit to it. Now, this step is crucial because it marks the beginning of a focused and dedicated journey. So now, guys, now that you've gathered foundational knowledge, built experience with diagnostic exams, and had meaningful conversations, it's time to decide. Right? Remember that the SAT and ACT are considered equally across all schools that accept both tests. There is no test that is favored over the other. Right now, the most important idea that you must keep in mind is that this is your decision, no one else's. Don't make a decision because someone else said it was a good idea. And don't doubt yourself or change your mind, go back and forth because someone else said it was a dumb choice, right? That person's opinion does not matter. The only people whose opinions matter is yours and your child's, right? The only person you got to believe is you, right? You got to own it. You got to make it yours, right? Remember that no one else can make you do anything. It's ultimately your choice. And there's great freedom and power in that. Now, of course, you can consider other people's opinions, but you must get to a place where you have absolute certainty that this is the right choice for you and your child. But what really helps here is to come up with a list of compelling reasons as to why the SAT or ACT is the right test for your child to take. Now, remember here, to keep your focus on your child. Right? Compelling reasons are things like, I know my child is extremely gifted in math and science, and those sections make up 50% of the score on the ACT. Plus, my child can gain the skill to improve her speed on the English and reading sections. Sure, it might take some time, and sure, she's a little bit behind now, but I totally believe in her and am willing to support her fully. Right now, reasons that aren't compelling sound like this. My friend told me that her child got a high score on the ACT, and they're friends, and they get the same grades in school, so I think it'll be okay. Or something like, the SAT sounds like it's more popular than the ACT, so I'll do that. Right? Now, the reason you want to have a list of compelling reasons is that there will be times when you and your child will be tested. This is guaranteed and true whenever you do anything that's worthwhile and big, right? So make sure to take some time to write the reasons that make you feel strong and good and just trust them. You got to own it. Okay, now once you've made your decision, it's time to commit fully. So committing to a single test allows for focused preparation. But remember, guys, that where your focus goes, your energy flows. Right? You must control and direct your focus to where you want it to go. Switching between tests or second guessing the decision is the definition of a split focus and distraction. And it can lead to confusion and decreased motivation and effort. Right? So when committing to your plan, remember this, right? This is the idea of burn the ships. Now, this concept originates from a historical event where there was this commander, right now, who landed on enemy shores, and he ordered his men to burn the ships. This left the men with no option but to succeed or perish. So for your child's test prep, this means eliminating any thoughts of retreat or switching tests halfway through. Right? By fully committing to one test, your child can focus all of their energy on mastering that test without distractions or doubt. Right? It's really about creating this environment where the only path is forward, right, towards improvement, success, and mastery. Now, as a parent, it's your job, you guys, to lead your child with certainty. Like, have faith and believe in your child and their ability to succeed. Now, if they don't succeed on the first test, it's okay. Don't get upset. Don't blame. Don't judge them or anyone else. This stuff is hard, right? So instead, encourage them, support them. Be solution-oriented and stay positive, right? Also, Don't hesitate to reach out for additional support if necessary. Right? Whether it's enrolling in a prep course, right, hiring a tutor, or joining a study group, right, having external support can really provide structure and motivation for your child. Make sure the support, though, aligns with your child's needs and the test that they're preparing for. Right? The right environment, being surrounded by the right people can make all the difference. Right? Being surrounded by like-minded people who support each other and work hard can inspire any child to want to get better. Right? Also, make sure to avoid environments where it's all about toxic competition. This idea of, I got to do better than this guy because I'm better than him. Right? Also, avoid teachers who use fear, discouragement, and intimidation to teach. Think about it. Right? Have you ever had a boss who scared the living heck out of you? Right? Or told you how worthless you were, or how your work was never good enough? How did that make you feel? Right? Was that the kind of person that you wanted to work hard for? It's the same thing with students, you guys. Remember, they're human, right? Just like you and me. We all have feelings, right? And if you've been watching this video up to this point, you're the kind of human who believes that a person can truly transform their life from a state of joy and inspiration. Now, how do I know that? I know that because that's the basis of my entire message throughout this entire video to you. Sure, there will be bumps and roadblocks along the way. This is always true when we do something hard and meaningful. But we don't have to stay frustrated or stuck. We can accept the situation for what it is, focus on a solution, learn to enjoy the process, put our heads down, and get back to work. Right? Also, you guys, and this is finally, make sure to celebrate the small wins along the way. Right? Acknowledge your child's hard work and progress, no matter how small. Right? This not only keeps them motivated, but also makes the journey more enjoyable and a lot less stressful. Right? Deciding on the right test and committing to it is a significant step in your child's educational journey. Right? Now, by following this decision-making framework, you're setting your child up for success with a clear, focused, and strategic approach. Now, if you need more guidance or resources, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out. The road to success can be lonely, but you don't have to travel it alone. Right? There are parents just like you who've crossed that bridge from where you are to where you want to get to. And there are passionate educators and guides who are on a mission, and I use that word intentionally. They're on a mission to improving the quality of education in this world and increasing the consciousness of education. Now, I and everyone else in this community would love to have you join our community, and we'd love to support you. But it's on you to take that first step. Right? So all you have to do, you guys, it's a small step, is simply subscribe to this channel and stay alert for all the incredible resources that are coming your way. Remember to always stay curious and never stop learning, regardless of your age. Guys, again, my name is Jin. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you. I hope to see you guys soon in that next video. Take care, you guys.